Now to a successful relocation in space. Early this morning, an American astronaut and two Russian cosmonauts teamed up to transfer a Soyuz spacecraft from one ISS port to another. The 37-minute journey saw the Soyuz travel through space, orbiting part of the Earth before docking at the new location. The move opens up a route for a series of upcoming Russian spacewalks. CBS News senior space analyst Bill Harwood is joining us now from the Kennedy Space Center with more on all of this. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
So the astronauts from the U.S. and Russia worked together on this Soyuz move. We don't get to say that often about these two countries. Can you speak a bit about the collaboration there?
Well, on board the International Space Station, if you put all the political turmoil aside down on Earth, both sides get along really well in space. The mission control centers in Russia and the United States, and also in Japan and in Europe, all work together on a daily basis. They've been doing this now for more than 20 years. It really is down to it really does operate like a fine watch, if you will. It's very well coordinated on both sides, and the crews all seem to get along just fine. They don't necessarily talk politics, but they get along fine in space.
So the goal here was to move the spacecraft to a new port. Explain the mechanics behind that.
Yeah, you'd think that'd be pretty straightforward, right? You just, the crew hops in the Soyuz, they undock and redock. But what you have to keep in mind, they always plan for what could go wrong. So say, for example, you're moving ports, but you can't redock for some reason. Say there's trouble with the docking mechanism. In that case, they'd have to come home. So when they undocked for this port relocation today, they were ready to come home if they had to. But as you say, they didn't have to. It all went off like clockwork. They basically left one port, which they use as an airlock for Russian spacewalks. They have some spacewalks coming up, so they wanted to free that up. And they've got a cargo ship coming up in May that'll use the same port. So basically, the three crew members just looped around the station and docked at a module on the other side. And they're about to open hatches and go back inside as we speak. So it's all gone off very well.
Okay, that's good to hear. Bill, NASA also now naming the astronauts who will be traveling around the moon on the Artemis 2 mission. Tell us a bit more about them and their mission.
Well, it's interesting. Since they named them earlier in the week, they've really, their tour has been a PR tour, if you will. They attended the NCAA championship basketball game Monday night. They appeared on late night TV later in the week. So really, NASA wants to put these crew members out in front of the public so everyone's going to know what's coming up. Now, for the astronauts themselves, they're going to really start mission-specific training this spring and summer, with simulators, practice runs at the Cape, all of that kind of stuff to ramp up to that flight at the end of next year. So they've got a lot of work ahead of them to perfect all of those procedures, and that really gets started here in the not-too-distant future.
All right, Bill, thanks so much.